Hi, welcome to the Energy and Balance podcast. My name's Michelle, and today I'm going to be looking at moon phases, the meaning behind them, and how to work with the lunar energy, as well as how that lunar energy can affect you on a day to day basis. But today is really about utilizing it and tapping into it so that you can achieve the intentions, the goals, and really understand things a little bit better. So, what is moon phase from a spiritual perspective? The phase of the moon is deeply connected to the cycles of growth, release, and renewal, making the lunar cycle a really powerful intention setting and spiritual practice guide. When you understand how the lunar energy works, you can then align yourself, your actions, your emotions, where you want to go, your goals, with that natural rhythm of the moon. And you might say, well, why? And the reason that you'll do this is because when you are getting in sync with that moon, farmers out there will tell you there are still farmers out here today, and this has been done for so many years, so many centuries. They will plant to the moon phase. It's not like, oh, well, I've got this day free, I'll plant. What they do is they are utilizing that energy. The moon affects the tides, the moon affects us. We're water, it affects the ocean. It will really, and if you get more in sync with what's happening out there with the moon, then you can really follow that guide of what you should do. When's the best place to do a new project? When should I jump in and take some action to do something? When is it time to let go and really allow myself to move forward and release what I'm holding? So that's what you want to do. And what you're going to do is get in sync with that. So instead of fighting the energy that is that world cyclic, I can't say it, sorry, cyclica energy, you're going to get in sync with it so that you can not fight with yourself, not fight with the energy out there, but move through in that flow. So once you have that better understanding of the phases, then you can really progress forward and help connect with yourself and make that a deeper connection with yourself and nature and what's happening around you. And this just allows the flow to do. Now, you might take a step back and actually look at some of your changes and some of the things that you've done and some of the moods. And if you connect them, you can do this through a journal, you can do this through a different way. We're really intuitive beings. And so that inner connection to that moon cycle, there's a lot of that there already. So when we start to make those decisions, we intuitively do it. But sometimes we are out of sync. So this is where you can really work with that moon cycle. Now, the moon is all about aligning yourself, that natural, repetitive rhythm, and it's influenced the earth for forever. And the natural cycle goes, you've got your waxing moon, and that's about growth. That's about intention. That's about moving forward. Now, waxing basically means growing. So you're going from a small slither of a moon, so from your new moon cycle, and you're growing. You're growing until you get to the full moon. And then you're in that full moon energy, and the full moon energy, because it's so buzzy, it's so big, it really is the shortest phase. It's that tiny, tiny little phase of maybe 3 days that you've got where you're actually in the full moon. And that is when you are really going to have that clarity, awareness, and that heightened energy. Now, talk to anyone in your psychiatric wards or even your ER if you know someone, and most of them will say, I know exactly when it's a full moon, even without looking at anything, because of the heightened things that happen during that time. So we're not aware of it on a conscious level a lot of the time, but we are aware of it on a subconscious level, and so things automatically happen. And then we move into our waning moon. Now, our waning moon is the opposite of waxing. So you've gone from your full moon and you are decreasing. So it's going back. It's about releasing. It's about reflecting. It's about letting go. So you've got that simple, repetitive, cyclic cycle that keeps going around and around. Now, one of the things you do have to keep in mind is northern versus southern hemisphere. The moon follows the same cycle worldwide, but the difference is what we see in the sky is going to depend on where you are on Earth. So if you're in the southern hemisphere or if you're in the northern hemisphere. And it can seem really confusing, but it's really quite basic. Your southern hemisphere, the light, so going from your new moon where there's no light, grows to the left. So, and in the northern hemisphere, going from your new moon grows from the right. So it's just exactly the same it's just opposite, exactly the same, but opposite. And when I say exactly the same, I mean exactly the same energy. So if you've got your waxing crescent in the north, it's lit on the right side. And if you've got the same phase in the south or the southern hemisphere, it's lit on the left side. But even though it's on the right side for the northern hemisphere and the left side for the southern hemisphere, it is bringing through the same energy. It is bringing through the waxen energy. So it's bringing through the growth, the intention, the forward movement. A lot of your apps out there, your weather apps and everything else will tell you exactly what moon phase you're in, depending on your location. So that's a really handy tool to use and to be able to guide yourself with doing it. Sometimes they'll say new moon in 3 days, full moon in 5. But you can, it's not like you have to go out there and you have to look up and go, where am I? You can utilize some of these apps out there to really be able to do something and be able to tune into that energy. Now, you might say, why is that happening? Why is it different from the north, from the south? Well, as I said, the energy isn't different. It's just the viewing angle from the earth. So in the south, we're looking at it a different way than you are in the north. So we're standing on opposite sides of the planet, but we're looking at the same moon. We're just looking at it from a different perspective. So the things that stay the same, even though they're mirror images, opposites, is the order of the phases is exactly the same. So you're always going to go through the growth phase to the new moon, to the full moon, and then you're going to go down to the reduction phase to the new moon, and then the cycle goes round. This cycle works for about 22.5, I say about 22.5 days. So these things are exactly the same. New moon, full moon, new moon. And it's going to go around, right the way around. A really simple way to remember it is if you're in the northern hemisphere, the light grows on the right. If you're in the southern hemisphere, the light grows on the left. Now, when you're understanding the lunar cycle, you're really going to break it down and go through different phases of that cycle. And you can go onto my website, and I'll have the link below, and you can see the phase you're in and the specific things that are in that phase. You can also see the crystals that'll work through that phase. You'll see the timing of that phase. It's like the new moon. The new moon is 2 to 3 days. And it's where there's nothing really there. And this time of the month is really aligned with the crystals of moonstone, labradorite, and clear quartz. Now, the reason it's linked with those is this new moon is about fresh starts. It's about mind shifts so that you are ready to move forward. It's about setting goals. It's about setting intentions. It's about setting that clarity around the direction that you want to take. Now, once you move on from the new moon, you move into the growth period, so into your wax and crescent area. Well, wax and crescent, and then you move, you keep moving right the way through to the full moon. So the wax and crescent is about 2 to 3 days after the new moon, and it's going to be leading into your first quarter. Now, during this time, you're still doing your planning, but you're taking little steps. You've got that growth happening, and you're just moving forward. You're strengthening your intentions, and you're learning and growing about what you've put in place or what the thought is. So you've moved from that thought into a little bit of action. So, and it's where just that slither of light is, and that's exactly what it is. The stones that'll really work with this one is about a bit of energy, a bit of motivation, a bit of confidence, really that growth and opportunity. So you'll be working with your carnelian, your citrine, your green aventurine, and all of those different ones. Then we move into that first quarter. Now, when I mean by the first quarter is it's when the moon is basically half lit. Okay, again, it depends on where you are in northern or southern hemisphere, but it's always on where the light is, but it's always first lit. And this is around 7 days after the new moon. So you'll see each cycle goes for 2 to 3 days. And in the first quarter, this is where you step it up a bit. This is where you take some action. You know, you've seen that, yes, you've thought about it, you've moved into it, but now you've seen a couple of obstacles that might be out there, but you're strengthening your focus and where you want to go, and you're really starting to overcome those obstacles so that you can continue to move forward. In this phase, you're going to be connecting with that motivation, confidence, and strength and determination. Now, you'll also notice that these are masculine ones because it does align with that. Everything aligns right the way through. You've got your action side of it, yin yang again. So you're going to be using carnelian, tiger's eye, pyrite, and just take those actions during this stage. You are better in a whole, to put it together, is work your intention right the way around your cycle. You can do it in little bits for what you actually want to do to start things in place, but moving it right the way around the circle, you're doing it complete, if you understand what I mean, and setting it and reinforcing it right the way through the lunar cycle. Next, we're moving into our waxen gibbous. Now, that just basically means that we're moving towards our full moon. And at that point, you've gone from the half lit to somewhere about halfway in between half and full. So it's the focus in this is really fine tuning where you're at, reinforcing and staying committed. And if something's happened, you can just adjust during this phase. So please also understand that as you've seen through this growth, this is not about this is what I want, this is how I'm going to do it, and I cannot deviate. Through this, you can adjust as you go because you're working through setting and then a little bit of action and then seeing what the hold-ups are and what we need to overcome and moving through to adjusting the direction if something's changed. So during this period, you really want to use your focus, your mental clarity, amplifying your intentions and your alignment of where you want to go, as well as tapping into that insight to see if this is really where you should be going. So the stones that are going to work with that and you work at during this phase are your fluorite, clear quartz, and your labradorite. Now, once you've gone through the waxen, you are at the full moon. The full moon is illumination. It's the brightest in the sky, and it's about release as well, release and illumination. So it's when the moon is fully illuminated, it's at the peak of the lunar cycle, and the energy is at the highest it's going to be. You are going to go through, amplify your clarity, clarity and amplification, emotional balance and intuition and cleansing. You let go of what no longer serves you. So you've got to that point where it's like, yeah, there are some obstacles, but nah, I don't need them. Shoo them away. Don't keep them. And cleanse. This is a great time during this cycle is to cleanse yourself through meditation and insight, as well as to cleanse your crystals, cleanse your house. If you're going to do that sweeping out and getting rid of stuff, the full moon is a fantastic time to release and recharge. Once we move past the full moon, we're into the waning gibbous. Now, this is about reflection. You've just gone through a huge growth period. You've let go of the things that don't help you. You've done a cleanse for yourself. So let's reflect. Let's have some gratitude for what's happened and where we're at, and just really bring that through. So amethyst is really about that reflection and inner awareness during that time. Rose quartz, gratitude, love, really appreciating everything that's happened around you. Blue lace agate is really about being able to communicate that not just with those around you, but with yourself. So there's that communication with yourself that's about understanding and not fighting, not up here in your mind going consciously, oh, this is what it is, and down here in your heart, your soul, your inner, going, no, this is really what it is. So it's allowing those two areas to release the conflict and be able to work together. The last quarter. Now, this is opposite to the first quarter because your light's going to be on the opposite way, but it is going to be that half moon again. So this is about, you've now gone through all of this, and you now have a much better understanding of your habits. You have a much better understanding of where you're at and how you need to go forward. So this is kind of a reset your intentions. So you can adjust as you've gone. You've set something, you're at this point and you're going, okay, now I need to adjust. I'm coming into the next cycle and I need to adjust. Now that can be a slight adjustment. That can be a massive adjustment. So it's going to depend on what's come through with this cycle for you. This is also where we're releasing that stuff. So we need a little bit more protection. We need that deep emotional release so that we can move forward. So the crystals you're going to use through this phase, black tourmaline, smoky quartz, obsidian, any of your protection ones, any of your grounding ones, any of your release. Let's get rid of some of this baggage we're holding. Now, the last quarter that we're talking about is your waning crescent. And this is where we take a breath. We've just been through all of this. Now we're just going to be a bit kind to ourselves. We're going to rest and do a little bit of that self-care. We're going to meditate and really do some inner healing on where we're at and what's happening. Some fantastic stones to use through this phase of the cycle are your amethyst, selenite, and lepidolite. Now, you've got calm, gentle, soothing, just kind to yourself stones through this period. And that's what you want to use before you move back into the beginning again, the new moon, where you start to reset and redo and remove forward. So that's how it works. The different cycles, you can come through and do different things. Now you can put these together with what you actually want to do during these cycles. So new moon, you're starting a new project and you want to really put your intention and everything else behind it? Well, then you go and you might do a crystal grid. You might do a crystal essence. So during that new moon phase, you put out the stones that align with what you want to do, and you write out your intention, and you might put them out and make a crystal essence that goes out over this moon phase. And during that time, you might have a crystal grid that you set up as well. And then once that moon phase is through, then you can make your essence up and spray that essence right the way through as long as you need it. You can meditate and focus on your crystal grid that you've set up in line with it. You can just as simple as meditate. Just as simple as with the intention that you have during that moon phase that aligns with that moon phase, go for a nature walk. Spend some time grounding outside so that you're really putting that intention in with you. There's really no right or wrong to how you implement that intention, as long as that intention is there and it is aligned with the moon phase that you're in. That is when you're going to get the most success with what you want to do and where you want to move forward. If you've got any questions, you can, this is a bit of a more of an in-depth and complicated and how to do it, but that's simple. Just line up your intention with what the moon phase is and to take it from there. Keep journal notes if you need to, because that will always help you moving forward. But there is nothing wrong with experimenting and putting things together, because the more we are doing things like this, the better we are making the world. So if this has helped you, or if you know anyone out there that this is going to help, to just, if they're struggling, they say, oh, I can't get past that point, I keep getting stuck. Yes, they might have to do some shadow work and do some work on themselves to be able to release that blockage, but they could also be in conflict with the energy around them. So please share this, share, comment. Let's get out there. Let's make the world a better place, and let's bring some energy through that is just going to put the best of it out there.